Journey to the Land of Light. Chapter 1. The Mysterious Letter. Liam was a quiet boy living in a small village named Riverwood. His days were simple. He woke up, helped his parents with their work, and then spent time wandering through the village. Though he had many friends, Liam always felt there was something missing in his life. He dreamed of going on an adventure, something far from the quiet streets of his village. One day, while Liam was sitting by the river, he noticed a small, glowing object floating in the water. Curious, he reached out and picked it up. It was a letter, sealed with a shiny silver stamp. His heart raced as he opened it. Inside the letter read, "Dear Liam, you are invited to the land of light. Only the brave and kind-hearted may enter. Your journey will be long and the challenges great, but if you succeed, you will find what your heart seeks. Begin your journey by following the path behind the mountain." Liam couldn't believe his eyes. Who had sent him this letter? What was the land of light? He looked around, hoping to see someone who might have sent the letter, but he was alone. After thinking for a moment, he knew what he had to do. His heart was filled with excitement, and he felt ready for an adventure. Liam ran back home, packed a small bag, and told his parents about the letter. His parents were worried but knew that Liam had always wanted to explore the world. They gave him their blessing and told him to be careful. The next morning, Liam set off toward the mountain with a mixture of excitement and fear. The journey to the land of light had begun. Chapter 2. The first steps. As Liam walked along the path leading away from his village, he felt a strange sense of both fear and excitement. The sun was shining brightly, and the air was fresh. But soon he entered a dense forest, where the trees were tall and the sunlight barely reached the ground. The path became narrow, and Liam started to feel lost. Just as he was beginning to worry, a small voice called out, "Hello there," startled. Liam looked around but saw no one. "Down here," the voice said again. Liam looked down and saw a small bird sitting on a rock. The bird had bright blue feathers and shiny black eyes. "My name is Pico," the bird said cheerfully. "You look like you're on an adventure," Liam nodded, surprised that a bird could talk. He explained that he was heading to the land of light, though he didn't know exactly how to get there. Pico flapped his wings and chirped, "Well, I know this forest better than anyone. I can help you find your way." "Grateful for the company," Liam agreed. As they continued through the forest, Pico explained that many people had come through these woods on their way to the land of light, but few made it. "The key is kindness and wisdom," Pico said. "The challenges you face will test both." Liam felt more confident with Pico by his side. As they walked, they encountered strange creatures, some helpful and some trying to trick them. Pico warned Liam to always listen carefully and to be cautious of those who seemed dishonest. After hours of walking, they finally reached the edge of the forest. Ahead of them stood a large mountain, dark and tall, with thick clouds circling its peak. Liam knew this was his next challenge. Chapter 3. The mountain of fear. The mountain of fear stood tall, casting a long shadow over Liam and Pico. As they approached, the wind grew colder, and Liam felt a chill run down his spine. He had heard stories about this mountain. Many people had tried to climb it, but most turned back, too afraid to go on. Pico landed on Liam's shoulder and whispered, "This is where many give up. The mountain plays tricks on your mind, making you believe that your fears are real." Liam took a deep breath and began the climb. The path was steep, and as he climbed higher, the wind howled louder. After a while, he started to hear voices, faint whispers telling him he would fail, that he wasn't strong enough, that he should go back. The higher he climbed, the louder the voices became. Liam stopped for a moment, his heart pounding. The voices were so convincing, but he remembered what Pico had told him. "Fear is just in your mind," he muttered to himself. "I have to be brave." With Pico's encouragement, Liam pushed forward. As they climbed, the path became more difficult. Rocks crumbled beneath his feet, and the wind nearly knocked him down. But each time he felt like giving up, he thought of the land of light and how much he wanted to reach it. At one point, the path disappeared entirely, leaving a sheer cliff in front of him. Liam froze, unsure of what to do. The voices in his head grew louder. But Pico, calm as ever, said, "Believe in yourself, Liam. You've come this far. Trust that you can do it." Liam closed his eyes, took a deep breath, and reached for the cliff. Slowly, carefully, he climbed the rock face, ignoring the fear that tried to creep into his mind. After what felt like hours, he reached the top. He had conquered the mountain of fear. Exhausted but proud, Liam looked down from the peak. The view was breathtaking, but more importantly, he realized something. Courage wasn't the absence of fear. It was moving forward despite fear. With this new understanding, Liam felt ready for whatever challenges lay ahead. Chapter 4. The River of Reflection. After descending the mountain, Liam and Pico came across a wide, clear river. The water was so still that it looked like a mirror. As they approached, Liam noticed something strange. The river reflected not only their images but also scenes from the past. Liam saw moments from his lifetimes when he had been unkind, moments of regret, mistakes he had made. The river showed these memories vividly, making him feel ashamed. "This is the river of reflection," Pico explained. "It shows us our past, both the good and the bad." Liam stared at the reflections, his heart heavy. He saw himself arguing with his parents, being rude to friends, and moments when he could have been kinder but wasn't. The weight of these memories made him want to turn away. "I don't want to see this," Liam said softly. Pico landed beside him. "We all make mistakes, Liam. The important thing is to learn from them. This river isn't here to punish you. It's here to help you grow." Liam watched the reflections again, but this time with a different perspective. Yes, he had made mistakes, but he could learn from them. He realized that everyone has moments they regret, but those moments don't define who you are. What matters is how you move forward. Feeling lighter, Liam knelt by the river and spoke to his reflections. "I forgive myself," he said. "I will do better." As he spoke these words, the images in the river slowly faded, replaced by clear water. Pico chirped happily. "Well done, Liam. You've passed the test of the river of reflection." Liam smiled, feeling a sense of peace. He stood up and continued his journey, ready for the next challenge. Chapter 5: The Bridge of Trust. Liam and Pico continued their journey and soon came to a deep canyon. The only way across was a narrow, old-looking bridge that swung in the wind. The wooden planks were worn and creaked under the slightest movement. Below, the canyon seemed endless, and Liam felt a wave of fear wash over him. "This is the Bridge of Trust," Pico explained. "Only those who truly trust in themselves and in others can cross it safely." Liam hesitated. The bridge looked far from safe, and the thought of crossing it made his legs shake. "What if the bridge breaks? What if I fall?" he asked. Pico fluttered above the bridge and called back, "You have to trust yourself, Liam. Trust that you are strong enough to make it. And trust in me, I'll be here to guide you." Liam took a deep breath. He knew Pico was right. If he doubted himself, he wouldn't make it across. With a pounding heart, he stepped onto the bridge. The planks wobbled under his feet, and the wind tugged at him, but he focused on each step. As he moved forward, he began to feel more confident. Pico flew ahead, encouraging him, and Liam reminded himself that he had already faced many challenges and overcome them. Step by step, he made his way across the bridge. Halfway across, the wind picked up, and the bridge began to sway even more. Liam's heart raced, but he remembered to trust in himself. He kept moving, holding tightly to the ropes and focusing on his goal. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, Liam reached the other side. He breathed a sigh of relief and smiled at Pico. "I did it," he said, feeling proud. "You did," Pico chirped. "And now you know how important it is to trust yourself and those who support you." Liam nodded. He had learned another important lesson, one that would carry him through the rest of his journey. Chapter 6: The Valley of Doubt. After crossing the Bridge of Trust, Liam and Pico continued their journey, feeling more confident with each step. But as they entered a wide, barren valley, something changed. The air felt heavy, and the landscape around them seemed gray and lifeless. There was no sound, no wind, no birds, not even the rustle of leaves. "This is the Valley of Doubt," Pico whispered, landing on Liam's shoulder. "It's a place where doubt tries to take over your mind. Be careful, things may seem hopeless here, but you must stay strong." As they walked deeper into the valley, Liam began to hear voices. At first, they were quiet whispers, barely noticeable, but soon they grew louder. The voices were saying things like, "You're not good enough. Why are you even trying? And you'll never reach the land of light." Liam tried to ignore the voices, but the more he walked, the louder they became. He began to question himself. What if the voices were right? What if he wasn't brave or strong enough to make it? Doubt started to fill his heart, and with each step, it became harder to move forward. Liam nodded, but the doubt still weighed heavily on him. The valley seemed endless, and he began to feel tired, both in his body and his mind. The voices kept repeating, "Turn back. You'll never make it. This is too hard." Suddenly, Liam stopped. He looked around, feeling lost and unsure. "Maybe the voices are right," he muttered. "Maybe I'm not good enough." Pico flapped his wings and flew in front of Liam, looking him in the eye. "Liam, remember everything you've done so far. You crossed the mountain of fear, you faced the river of reflection, and you trusted yourself enough to cross the bridge. You are strong. Don't let doubt take that away from you." Liam thought about Pico's words. It was true, he had already come so far, and he had overcome many challenges. Slowly, he started to believe in himself again. The voices in the valley tried to grow louder, but Liam pushed them away. "I am good enough," he whispered to himself. "I can do this." With renewed determination, Liam kept walking. The valley stretched on, but now he moved forward with confidence, ignoring the voices that tried to fill him with doubt. Eventually, the voices faded, and the gray landscape began to change. The sky brightened, and the path became clear once again. Liam smiled, knowing that he had won against the valley of doubt. He had learned an important lesson: doubt is powerful, but self-belief is even stronger. Chapter 7: The City of Temptation. As Liam and Pico continued their journey, they reached a bustling city. The city was unlike anything Liam had ever seen. Tall buildings stretched into the sky, and the streets were filled with people laughing, eating, and enjoying themselves. Colorful lights blinked from every corner, and music filled the air. "This is the City of Temptation," Pico explained. "Many travelers get lost here, distracted by the pleasures it offers. You must stay focused on your journey." Liam nodded, but as they entered the city, it became harder to stay focused. Everywhere he looked, there were people offering him things: delicious food, shiny toys, beautiful clothes. "Come join us," they called. "Why rush? Stay and enjoy yourself." At first, Liam resisted. He remembered that his goal was to reach the land of light. But as the temptations grew stronger, he started to feel tired. The long journey had been hard, and the city looked so comfortable. "Maybe I should rest here for a while," Liam thought. He saw a group of people sitting around a table, laughing and eating. They invited him to join them, and for a moment, Liam considered it. What's the harm in taking a break? He asked himself. I've worked hard so far, but Pico flew in front of him, chirping urgently. Liam, don't forget why you're here. This city is meant to distract you from your goal. If you stay too long, you'll lose sight of the land of light. Liam realized Pico was right. He had come so far, and he couldn't let a moment of comfort keep him from completing his journey. He thanked the people for their offer, but politely declined. I have a mission, he said, and I must keep going. As they walked through the city, Liam saw more temptations: riches, fame, power. Each one seemed more tempting than the last, but he kept Pico's words in mind. None of these things are as important as the land of light, Liam reminded himself. Finally, after passing through the city, they reached its edge. Liam looked back at the city of temptation, feeling proud that he hadn't been distracted. He knew now that staying focused on what truly mattered was one of the greatest challenges of all. Chapter 8: The Forest of Shadows. Leaving the city of temptation behind, Liam and Pico entered a dark, eerie forest. The trees were tall and twisted, their branches blocking out most of the sunlight. Strange shadows moved between the trees, and the air was thick with silence. This is the Forest of Shadows, Pico said quietly. The shadows here play tricks on your mind. They show you things that aren't real, things from your past or your worst fears. You must stay calm and remember that the shadows are just illusions. Liam felt a chill run down his spine. The forest felt different from any place they had been before. As they walked deeper into the forest, the shadows began to move closer. Liam saw strange figures in the distance. Some looked like people, others like animals, but all of them seemed wrong. Suddenly, one of the shadows grew larger, forming the shape of a giant looming over Liam. It looked like one of the monsters from his childhood nightmares. Liam froze, his heart pounding. The shadow monster reached out toward him, and for a moment, Liam forgot it wasn't real. Run, the monster roared. But before Liam could move, Pico flew in front of him. Liam, remember, it's just a shadow. It can't hurt you. Liam took a deep breath and forced himself to stay still. He closed his eyes, remembering that the shadows were only illusions. When he opened his eyes again, the monster had disappeared. They continued through the forest, but the shadows didn't stop. Liam saw more frightening images, his biggest fears, moments from his past when he had failed or made mistakes. Each one made his heart race, but he remembered what Pico had said. "They're not real," he whispered to himself. "They can't hurt me." Finally, after what felt like hours, they reached the other side of the forest. The shadows faded away, and the light began to return. Liam breathed a sigh of relief. He had faced his fears and the illusions of his past and come out stronger. The forest of shadows had taught him that fear and regret only have power if you let them. Chapter 9, The Gate of Light. After many challenges, Liam and Pico finally stood before the gates to the land of light. The gates were tall and golden, glowing softly with a warm light. Beyond them, Liam could see a beautiful landscape, bathed in golden sunlight, with lush fields and sparkling rivers. It was more beautiful than anything he had ever imagined. "This is it," Pico said, landing beside him. "The land of light. But before you can enter, you must unlock the gate." Liam looked around but saw no key. "How do I unlock it?" he asked, confused. Pico smiled. "The key is not something you can see. It's something inside you. Only when you fully understand the lessons you've learned on your journey will the gate open." Liam thought about everything he had been through: the mountain of fear, the river of reflection, the bridge of trust, the valley of doubt, the city of temptation, and the forest of shadows. Each challenge had taught him something important: bravery, self-reflection, trust, belief in himself, focus, and the ability to face his fears. He closed his eyes and took a deep breath, thinking about how much he had grown during the journey. He had learned to be brave, to trust others, and to believe in himself. He had faced his fears and doubts and had stayed true to his mission, even when distractions tried to pull him away. As these thoughts filled his mind, Liam felt a warmth in his chest. He opened his eyes and stepped forward. The gates began to glow even brighter, and with a soft click, they slowly swung open. "You've done it," Liam Pico said proudly. "You've unlocked the gate with the power of everything you've learned. Welcome to the land of light." Chapter 10, A New Beginning. Liam stepped through the gates, and a sense of peace washed over him. The land of light was even more beautiful up close than he had imagined. The air was fresh, the sky was a brilliant blue, and the light that filled the land was warm and comforting. As he walked through the fields, Liam noticed that the light wasn't just coming from the sun. It seemed to come from everywhere: the trees, the flowers, even the ground beneath his feet. Everything was glowing with a gentle, golden light. "This place is amazing," Liam whispered, his heart full of joy. Pico flew beside him, his feathers shining brightly in the light. "You've earned this, Liam. The land of light is a place of peace and wisdom. Only those who have faced their inner challenges and grown stronger can enter. Liam looked around, feeling proud of everything he had achieved. His journey had been long and difficult, but it had been worth it. He had learned so much about himself, and now he was standing in the place he had always dreamed of reaching. But as he walked through the land of light, Liam realized something else. His journey wasn't over. The land of light wasn't the end of his adventure, it was the beginning of a new one. He had come so far, but there was still so much more to learn and explore. Smiling, Liam turned to Pico. "What's next?" he asked. Pico chirped happily. "That's up to you, Liam. The land of light is full of new challenges and opportunities. But whatever you choose, remember the lessons you've learned. They will guide you, no matter where you go." Liam nodded, feeling ready for whatever lay ahead. His journey had taught him that true strength comes from within, and now he was ready to use that strength to explore new horizons. With a final look at the beautiful landscape around him, Liam took his first step into his new adventure, knowing that the land of light held endless possibilities. The end.